Stephen Colbert's network, CBS, is now denying that it pulled a segment of his from the broadcast version of the show in order to appease the FCC and its chairman's intent to strictly enforce the equal time rule.
Now, Colbert alleged that the network was the one that made the decision to pull the segment with Texas Senate candidate James Talarico. Here's what Colbert said on Monday.
You know who is not one of my guests tonight? That's Texas State Representative James Talarico. He was supposed to be here, but we were told in no uncertain terms by our network's lawyers, who called us directly, that we could not have him on the broadcast. Because my network clearly doesn't want us to talk about this, let's talk about this.
That sparked outrage from several on the left, including from Talarico, who said this in a late show web exclusive segment.
This is the party that ran against cancel culture, and now they're trying to control what we watch, what we say, what we read. And this is the most dangerous kind of cancel culture, the kind that comes from the top. Corporate media executives are selling out the First Amendment to curry favor with corrupt politicians. And a threat to any of our First Amendment rights is a threat to all of our First Amendment rights.
Talarico's opponent in the Democratic primary, Jasmine Crockett, also called it out in an interview with Jen Psaki, saying this.
Late Show decided that this was the option, and I think that it was a good strategy. I mean, look at what happened when they tried to censor CCOT. We found out that you could get a lot more views, so I think it probably gave my opponent the boost he was looking for. When we resist and when we know that it seems like they're trying to change the rules and bend to the knee or bend the knee to this president, that it backfires in a historic fashion.
Journalist and author Glenn Greenwald had a slightly different perspective online. He wrote on X in part, "The irony of this whole Colbert-Talarico situation is the only person who has an interest in keeping off the show is Jasmine Crockett. Colbert's audiences are liberals and Dems. That's the only voting bloc he influences. The FCC didn't raise this, CBS did." Again, CBS has denied that this segment needed to be pulled over concerns of FCC backlash, and even went further, denying that the network was the one that made the decision at all. CBS told The Hill in a statement The Late Show was not prohibited by CBS from broadcasting the interview with Representative James Talarico. The show was provided legal guidance that the broadcast could trigger the FCC equal time rule for two other candidates, including Jasmine Crockett, and presented options for how the equal time for other candidates could be fulfilled. It was The Late Show itself that decided to present the interview through its YouTube channel with on-air promotion on the broadcast rather than potentially providing the equal time options. So, okay, we know a lot more information than we did yesterday. Most importantly, CBS says we did not order them not to air this interview. That's editorial spin from Colbert. The equal time, so this isn't really about the Republicans at all.
Right. That was the question
just
we had
about the Democratic primary. Voting in the Democratic primary, I think early voting is open now, and it's running for the next few weeks. I think the primary is early March. So the question is, the equal time rule of the FCC would suggest, their interpretation, and again, the FCC didn't say, you can't do this. The lawyers for the network said, we think we could violate the equal time rule if we just do a Talarico interview right before the voting without also having a Jasmine Crockett interview. And we're worried we're in legal jeopardy if we do that. That was their warning. And they might very well be correct about that. I think the equal time rule is stupid and it should be scrapped, but the rules should not be ambiguous, but the rule does exist. So, Frank, I see why they did it, or why they did it, why they gave this guidance, is what they're saying. Does that make sense?
Sure. Jasmine Crockett has been on Colbert twice already. She's been on The View before within days of this election, right? I think that...
Yes, but I don't know if the Colbert interview was before. I don't know if she was a candidate yet. I don't remember.
Either way, she's not missing out on any press opportunities, right? She's been everywhere. And so I think that to think that we should just...
the rule is stupid.
But to think that we are just made to believe CBS in this situation, like that to me is odd, understanding the dynamic between President Trump, the FCC, and a yes to whatever ventures the bigger company, Paramount, has in mind for the next 3 years. We all know how business works, and it seems naive to say, okay, well, yeah, we're going to take the not. You don't have to trust Colbert, but I'm just saying, why would we blatantly trust CBS? I think when you talk about Bari Weiss, who's in this new position, even if this was a call made by the lawyers that she in the top management had something to do with the conversation, let's just say she might have, well, she has to think about every single story that comes out about her from now moving forward to save face, because she's not only arguing with the public image externally about how she runs places, she's also internally arguing with people like Colbert that have been there decades longer than she's been in the building. Journalists that have been there and think that they probably know better than her, some young person that they're looking at that has created a multi-million-dollar business and successfully at that. But also, like, a lot of people are looking at her like, you're doing this wrong. We've seen the private messages that have become public information to us, saying that to her. So I just think, like, we need to take this all with a grain of salt. I don't just trust CBS. I think Colbert is on his way out. So as people do on their way out, like we saw with who left NBC after Jay Leno. Jay Leno gave him the job. He came back. Conan played the Happy Birthday song on air, which we know is the most expensive song to play on television. You literally can't do it. He played it on his way out. I understand how disrespect goes when you're leaving a job and you think they did you wrong. So there's a lot going on here, but I'm certainly not just taking CBS's word.
Well, look, and this is important to note. If they were, so from the Republican Trump perspective, they want Crockett to win the primary because they think Crockett is more beatable than Talarico. So they want Crockett to triumph.
I don't know if they really want that.
No, they
they're
absolutely
playing
do.
games.
Oh my God, they so want. No, if they could make it happen, they want Crockett for sure to win the Trust me, they want.
That's like
Crockett.
a sleight of hand. I feel like when they're like, I hope this person wins because they're going to lose, and then.
Well, yeah, they could be. She could win, but then they don't care. It's a Dem either way. But they think she's more likely to be beaten. So if they wanted to suppress Talarico to boost Crockett. Though this has backfired because, as this always happens, the Streisand effect, this interview is getting more attention. I mean, TV, again, nobody watches TV. 1 million people is the average views per night for Colbert. Well, I checked, it's already been viewed, or 2 million on TV. It's already been viewed 1 million times on YouTube. It'll pick up more in the days and weeks to come. Social media clips on X, everywhere else, like, it gets more attention. There's more of an audience online than there is watching TV. So,
well, that's
the thing. And you brought attention to it.
Well, YouTube
so
is also international. So I think, you have a concentrated U.S. audience with some of these networks, which is why people want to send candidates there because it's an older audience.
In Texas watching?
That definitely will vote. The 50% of people in Texas that actually do vote will be watching Colbert if they're Democrats.
I mean, that's why the FCC is silly. And these requirements on TV when every kind of media is widely available and totally unregulated and unfiltered, it makes these rules seem antiquated to me, and I would just get rid of them, but they should be enforced equally.
Up next, Mayor Zohran Mamdani gives Governor Kathy Hochul an ultimatum to either raise property taxes on the ultra-wealthy or he's going to do something about it and address New York City's budget deficit. Don't go anywhere.